All right, guys. Good morning. Little gap up open this morning. A little bit of a gap up. We have yesterday market sold off a little bit. Not too bad though. Still a pretty green day. And it's at 0.92%. Oh yeah, I guess we're gapping up 1%. Not sure how much more we can go from that today. We'll see. Just finished going through this IBD 50 paper here. Got OLED. With a pretty wide chart pattern here. Hey, good morning, Eli. Haven't touched on OLED in a while. Xilinx extended from a 95.28 buy point. Wait for a new base or entry. Well, there's no pullback right now in the market. We're gapped up at the moment in individual names. It can be advantageous to buy pullbacks if you kind of miss some breakouts. But yeah, market's still in confirmed uptrend. So yeah, I would say go ahead and buy some pullbacks in the better performing stocks. Make sure that they're the better performing stocks, though. ZM kind is not really a pullback. It was still a pretty big update yesterday, but it's a little bit of a pullback. Beyond, 16% pullback for Beyond. I haven't really advocated buying this the whole time, so I will abstain. Yeah, it's just very gappy, very wide action. I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole, to be honest with you. MongoDB actually is pulling back. It's negative this morning a little bit. After yesterday, retracing pretty much all of its move. Came to close right where it opened. So, what with Beyond? I don't really think I missed that much, to be honest with you. Oh, the $100 break. Well, it went on earnings. I wasn't. I'm not really mad I missed that one, to be honest with you. I would have been if I bought something there, I would have been thrown around yesterday. Probably wouldn't have sold yesterday because I was out, and yeah, I'm not really mad at that personally. Not something I've been specifically looking at. So, all right, UPLD one we found recently looks like it's continuing. Trade Desk still at highs. Xilinx still coming out of lows. I missed that's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind missing everything, Eli. It didn't fit my rule set. I was never comfortable with the trade, so I never took it. And that's a good trade. Even if the thing goes up 1,000%, which it did, I'm fine with it. Twilio Fox F, rounding over a little bit. If you're saying I missed I'm not sure if you're saying I missed everything on Beyond Meat or I missed all the moves. I did make some moves. I told you guys I bought the TQQQ. CRM, no, I did not. I did buy Pays yesterday. No, I didn't miss it. I bought MongoDB and I bought Pays and I bought the TQQQ on the follow through day early on. So I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm in a good spot. My portfolio is already up like 20+%. Whatever it is. I haven't checked. Hey, good morning, Ryan. Thanks for joining us. Cell block on CRM. Are you referring to that? Oh, man, just gap central here, let alone a cell block. Gap. I thought there was a gap here too. So this is think or swim right here, Ryan. This is something you get if you trade with TD Ameritrade. I actually don't trade with TD Ameritrade, but I did back in the day, and I still have access to it, so I still use it. I think it's a great platform. You can buy and sell from this as well. Like if I wanted to buy this one CRM, I can hit this TRD button for trade, and I can expand it, and I can hit a quantity, hit a quantity, do my limit order stuff right there. All kinds of stuff. You got level 2. I believe you can initiate orders here as well. Although, like I said, I don't really trade here, so I'm not sure how. There you go. It's cool. They haven't updated the GUI in 15 years, but it's still cool. It's not too bad. Yeah, but this would not be considered an exchange there, Ryan. So the way the market works is that um, it depends on if you take it from a trader up approach or a company down approach. But the exchange would be like the American Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ, and that's where all the actual trading happens. So the stock registers with the exchange. The exchange kind of manages um, and facilitates the trades, and then the broker is TD Ameritrade. That's where retail traders like you and me trade through a broker that trade on the exchange. MongoDB pulling back even more here. Not very good. AMD also pulling back a little bit. This one I would be trying to get in, depending on how low it goes here. You could use this pullback on AMD for an entry. MongoDB, it's going to undercut my position there pretty decently. This could be a good place for MongoDB too. It's had good volume on breakouts. You can see even, let's see if that was on earnings or after earnings. $6.5 after, so this is $6.5. So even on $6.5, yeah, these are all pretty much bullish candles except for this one, obviously, yesterday. So yeah, I would say you can probably buy a pullback here in MongoDB. NASDAQ continuing higher, 1%. All right, let's go to the global watch list. Actionable. Let's go to the actionable first. Kind of queued through it a little bit. Funko still looks like it's trying to set up to go. Hasn't quite gotten the will to as of yet. My Intuit here looking healthy. Pay's also looking pretty good. This thing broke out the other day from this little consolidation. Pay's on a tear. Just a little stock, market cap, I think 400 million, something like that. Oh, then Eli, I got a trade for you. I should have sent it to you on Slack yesterday. Oh yeah, it is for Pays too. Pays pretty good one. What's up, Rob? Rain, did you see that NBY run yesterday? No, I had a go after my crypto power hour yesterday. Oh, nice. Wow, 1,000% yesterday. Good for them. You usually take profits if you're up 1,000%. Don't argue. Don't get greedy and go for 12,000. Just take profits. That's generally the game plan. All right, let's go to the top of the actionable list here. We got Grub trying to poke out. Looks like they had, was it earnings? No, it's just a gap on news. No earnings. We've kind of been, well, we were lightly watching Grubhub until it just destroyed itself. Amazon ends restaurant delivery in face of competition. Oh, okay. So on the same day, Amazon Go opens Park Avenue second Go store and they end their restaurant delivery. Was it called Go? Failed to gain traction. Well, you can't win on everything. WB Generac. Nice extension there. Probably is definitely too high elevated to buy. Yeah, up 10%. That's out of buy range. We got VIPs down here. Looks like in a low and slow consolidation. Oh, looks like it's already broken out of it. So that's potentially within a buy range for a reversal. No major volume coming in here, so it's a little hard to get involved. Tesla up another 3% today. Not really dropping at all. Not a lot of sellers coming back in here. Still kind of hard to get super excited about Tesla. Again, unless you're a longer term holder, in which case you're fine to buy. NBEV, Alibaba still choppy. Etsy. Let's see what Etsy's doing. Taking his sweet, sweet time, although it looks like it has some elevated volume here on the right side of this pattern. Slightly elevated. You could argue yesterday was a pocket pivot even with the sell-off. Yeah, definitely a pocket pivot. Pocket pivot here as well. So a pocket pivot in the lows and a pocket pivot here on the sell-off yesterday. And we saw yesterday right at the close, there was a ton of volume that stepped in. Looks like to buy it up. So Etsy could be probably trying to make a run out of a base, which would be, I guess, considered a double bottom base. You could qualify that as a double bottom with a buy point right there. And that buy point would be down to 70.28 or so, so give or take. Whatever the high of one of these candles is. 70.09 would be the high of this candle. And then, yeah, so 70.19 would be your technical buy point for Etsy. But trying to break this declining trend line here. Not looking too bad. Pretty good volume the past 4 days. Or at least green. I don't know about good volume. But you can see here volume was declining as we went sideways. Then accelerating as we're going higher. So Etsy not looking bad. It's about 8%, almost 9% to recent highs. So that's not a bad one. That's pretty actionable. Let's throw that on our actionable list. Snap was one that broke out the other day. Let's check on it. Still holding nice and tight. Look up there. Past 3 days, very tight action. That's pretty encouraging. All right, let's go from the top again in case something jumped up. Prefer not to miss things that jump up. Stitch Fix could be a turnaround play. Looks like a little bit of a gap up. Kind of ugly there on earnings, but has maintained its elevated status. They missed earnings and still did pretty good. Body Chesapeake. There's Etsy again. There's Boot, which was leading our day for a minute there. Oh, what's that? Kiwi, huh? Breaking a longer term trend line. I mean a really longer term trend line. Kiwi was a leader back in the day. Let's see what their status is today. Checking out the IBD stats. 98 composite rating, 95 relative strength rating. Composite rating is the ranking overall that IBD gives to the stock based on every other stock in the market. And the relative strength rating is its relative performance versus the S&P 500. 32% EPS change last quarter. Pretty good. Negative 3% 3-year EPS growth rate. 22% sales. 26 3-year sales growth rate. 23% pre-tax margin. All pretty decent. 1.1% or 1.1 billion market cap. 30% change in funds owning stock. Wow, that's pretty aggressive. That's very aggressive. All right, so let's check out FinViz and see if we can see how many funds own the stock. If I can type. Institutional ownership 82%. Yeah, yesterday was a nice move for Kiwi there. I don't show me how many institutions own it. I think Yahoo does actually. And they may track it by quarter too. Yeah, I'll pull this up here while I'm looking at it. I only saw the last half of that game I missed when Kevin Durant got injured. Okay. Yahoo Finance. There we go. Kiwi holders. Okay. Invalid date data is not available. Cool. Well, that was fun. That was fun, guys. That was fun. $99% undervalued on your $1,000. Is that what you're referring to? That's pretty undervalued. All right. Let's get on with some other names here. There's Etsy again. Etsy's still looking good. Trex, trying to break over that trend line again for a second time. Vips, ZTO. Restoration Hardware, way down at the bottom of the chart. I see another low over here. Looks like that is 321 last year. So pretty close to a prior low here on Restoration Hardware. And we're pretty far here from the highs. Wow, still 20% lower to that? That seems excessive. Over 20% to those highs. That's not too bad. Interesting. Not my favorite, but interesting. And let me get rid of this. One of the few things I don't like about this program is this whole time axis garbage that seems like pulling teeth to get it to stay where you want it to. Here's Huya trying to come out of lows there. That's interesting. Cisco Systems, ladies and gentlemen, trying to break out of what is not a correct double bottom pattern, but trying to break out nonetheless. And I can't see what's going on there. Still can't see what's going on there. Oh, 11%. So this would be a flat base, as a matter of fact, for Cisco Systems. Oddly enough, a flat base. And it looks like it's getting with it a little bit this morning. Volume's a little bit higher than normal. And it looks like it may try to break out today. It's right at the cusp of that. You got 57, 53, 57, 31. So this indeed should qualify as a flat base if it is indeed 11%, which it is. And it looks like we had another base right there. This probably will qualify as a base on base pattern, which indeed it looks like it does. And that's not too bad. Cisco looks like it kind of has a hard time running 20% though. That one it ran 30%. This one it barely ran up. So not a very volatile name. Pretty high quality name as well. There's Cisco, a little bit longer term. There's they probably would consider that an undercut. Maybe a cup and handle. Maybe it didn't undercut. Interesting chart pattern, but looks like coming back over here to your 2000 up here at 65 with a low of $8 on Cisco. Slowly kind of ramping up. Maybe getting ready to have a better run. I don't know. But that looks very interesting here. About to break out. Not sure if you'll get the 20% that IBD prescribes on a breakout, but all right, it's an interesting trade nonetheless. Let's check it out. I typed in Kiwi for some retarded reason. So 57. Stupid. Can't. Oh, that's the other thing. Can't keep the trend line up there. All right, 65. We'll do it based off of 65. And what the hell? Seriously? Just to get to 65? That's pretty good. Cisco's not too bad. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, Cisco's pretty good right there as long as it breaks out on volume. Cisco's not a bad trade. Justin, were you with us 2 days ago with the follow-through day, my friend? Did you miss that day? Because that's when I got back invested in my index fund position and started taking trades again. So yeah, on the follow-through day, as soon as it's pretty clear a follow-through day is coming in, you're free and clear to take investments again. So the answer to that question would be yes, we hit it 2 days ago. That was the safe date. You could have taken it before. We even talked about it the day before. A few stocks broke out. AMD broke out. There's another one broke out. I forget off the top of my head, but some of those broke out. I said you can, you can still have some of. Yeah, then if you see a setup that you like or just feel like buying the cues for, if that's a position that you take, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Now we'll see if this one fails. I mean, there's been situations where follow-through days fail after 3 days. I mean, we saw it during the last bear market. We saw follow-through day, then an immediate failure the next day during the latter part of 2018 there, if you guys remember. So those failed immediately. Although if you remember, the market looked like crap during the follow-through day anyways. Nothing was breaking out, so I was taking small positions because I didn't like the feel for the market, but still taking positions nonetheless. This follow-through day feels a little bit different. The market feels like it's got some legs underneath of it. Breakouts are working and sustaining, so it's a little bit of a different situation here where things are working well. So I don't feel too bad taking positions at all. But yeah, we could fail at some point. The next route of tariffs with Trump could fail us. But that's why you have to have your stop loss rules pretty firmly in place, and you have to obey them and protect capital so that the next time that all this garbage goes away, and we do have a pretty good run, even if you don't think it's going to run, you could have a good run, and then before you know it, you're making money. So that's the key in these markets, is you go with the market signals that have worked for you. Because that's all we got, my friend. All we got is the market signals. We don't have much else to go off of. We're trying to follow institutional traders that leave large volume signatures in the market, and hopefully trying to find them at key turning points in stock charts and in stocks that are very high performing. And so that's what we do every day. We go on a hunt every day. And as you guys have found, what difference a week can make in some stocks in terms of the action. You get some pocket pivots, you get some reversals. Something looks like it's rolling over, it doesn't, it comes back. You just kind of have to keep an eye on all these things. Sherwin-Williams looking really good. Obviously, it's sitting here right at highs, very deep, I would assume. 35%, that's not bad. Did undercut a prior base, so that would potentially be a first stage base. This would be your breakout point. And we're only up 2% on Sherwin-Williams. So this would be our breakout day right there. And I would say it qualifies as breakout day. So good breakout for Sherwin-Williams, a little consolidation. If you want to buy this thing as it tries to clear this recent high at 476, not mad at that. That's not a bad one. The heck just happened? Did I just delete Apple for no apparent reason? Make sure I add Apple back in there. Ooh, Tilray. Yesterday was doing, or yesterday, the day before, did pretty good. Day before yesterday. Oh, yesterday too. 2 days in a row right there. Pretty good. Yeah, that was up 9%. Like this was up 11%. Although not even back to the 50-day moving average in blue there. So I guess we'll see what happens on that one. Look at that choppy volume. That must be some distribution. That's they run it up to sell it off, and I guess that's what they're doing with Tilray right there. What else is down here at the lows? MongoDB down 3.3%. Volume's pretty heavy. At least on the open, we'll see if that sustains or can turn around. Still got my position. Going to give it some room. Coop, which was had some leadership qualities to it. Looks like on a pullback as well. Paycom on a pullback. Craw, another MJ stock. Roku, which as of recently has been on fire. And stalling just a little bit here. Maybe doing another little consolidation. We've got a little gap here. If we go back and fill that gap, that could be viable in Roku on a little bit of a pullback. So far, ever since it broke this cup and handle base right here. Actually, I think this is too deep to be considered a cup and handle. This was a little cup base right here is what it was. But after that breakout, I mean, just a fantastic move up. There's the breakout day on earnings. Fantastic move up, and so any pullback would be viable, I would assume. So let's see here. We got that. My stocks are jumping around down here, so we'll see what we were able to get. AMD on a pullback would be pretty good, although it's pausing right before all-time highs. Ideally, you'd like to see it, go through, but it's had a nice run here for a stock that's been beaten down for a long time. Good 20% run there. So it looks like they're selling off some tech and buying some other tech. Winnebago still looks promising. Paylocity still hanging out. So even in the lows here, things aren't necessarily that bad. A couple of recent winners pulling back. There's Boeing, the beaten up stock of 2019. After just a ridiculous 2018, 2019, or 2016, 2017, excuse me. Look at these years right there. Huge run there for Boeing made great money off of that base right there. Or maybe it was this one. One of those. Our CDNA service now. What's going on? I'm being moved. CGC. Toll Brothers. ENDP. Still not finding anything very interesting. I'm being moved around all the time though. So yeah, we have a little bit of profit taking here on some of these winners of the past year, essentially. PayPal, a little bit of profit taking there. All right, that's getting very repetitive. How's Etsy doing? Pretty good, holding up here at the highs, just under the trend line right there. Pays. I like this little guy. Very good numbers. Look at all the green volume stepping in here. I mean, the up down volume ranking on Pays, I think, was huge. Let me check it out. Yeah, 99 composite rating on here with a 99 relative strength rating and a 2.4 up down volume. That means if you go back, I think it's just a 13-week one or 50-day ratio is the total up days versus down days is 2.4. So there's eating this stock, literally eating it. So this one's pretty good. I got a pretty high flying option on Pays for the end of the year with huge potential dividends if this thing gets to 25, which is sometimes you get these small guys. We mentioned this, and I forget the stock's name, but these things can get, I know I'm asking a lot out of it, but it's a small-ish trade, so I'm giving it a little bit of leeway here. But these things can get up pretty high. They tend to stall at about the 25 area. I can't say this is getting to 25. That'd be an extreme parabolic move. But we've had some extreme parabolic moves in some of these little names. This is a longer base here, so maybe we'll get up towards that area. All right, Match.com still hanging out near highs. Xilinx still trying to bounce off that 200-day moving average, well off of it. So if you got it down there, good job. AMRN still choppy around this, $18 level. It's been here all year into last year, chopping through that area. INSG still in that declining channel. Chipotle Mexican Grill, we had this one here yesterday, I believe. And Happy just sitting here near highs. We sold off a little bit yesterday. That's okay. UPLD, a recent addition, holding up. Intuit, also another one with this has a base on base pattern. Look at this freaking uptrend. Look at that. I mean, just gone. Just straight up gone. So maybe it'll continue. You have a base on base pattern here, meaning one base, and then you base again before going up 20%. And that usually implies further gains. So Intuit looking pretty decent. No buy point as of yet, though. IIPR, this was a recent addition, past couple of weeks. And doing good, sitting in highs. Right there, 99.80, 99.87, sitting at 99 right now. So no major volume up here. We did have a nice breakout day, though. See the volume pop. That was our breakout day. And Snap. I think Snap could be buyable out of this little consolidation. That's a beautiful little tight flag. If that maintains that tightness, whenever that does break that trend, that could be a good trade for Snap. Maybe just on that leg, but it'd be a good trade nonetheless. Take-Two Interactive has slowly moved out of my little flag down here. I've still never touched it. ESNT looks like a pullback yesterday. A little bit of a sell-off. Hasn't dropped though, so that's encouraging. Newer MKC here. DocuSign, big failure there on earnings and hasn't been able to come back. Twilio. Alternative minimum tax. It's not the stock, but it's my joke. Chegg pulling back, DocuSign pulling back, Fox pulling back, Winnebago It's like a little bit of a stalling pullback. We could use some of that. INS, I gotta get rid of INS. This thing is just a cancer on society. KG, we'll keep a hold of you for a minute. And my buddy MongoDB looks like found a little bit of support right here. We'll see if it reverses. Still good on the breakout though, so we'll see what happens here. All right, so let's. You know what I do have? I do have another list of daily movers. Let's go through this. These are stocks that go up a bunch. How long do I typically hold my positions? Well, it depends on the position. Depends on the position, Ryan. So I've got a default position for the NASDAQ and the triple the NASDAQ fund. And I held it, I guess, from here all the way up till here. So this one I held for several months. Some trades, if they go awry quickly, I will sell quickly. It just depends how well they act and if I'm profitable or not. I'll hold them as long as they'll let me, is a good answer to that. Recently, I mean, obviously during this period, I would say my average hold time was a couple of weeks on some of my trades. But I personally, and I do not recommend this, especially for newer traders. If you're a newer trader, do not follow this strategy. But I trade options, so yeah. So I don't have to let a stock go for a tremendous time before I can profit greatly. So some of my time horizons can be a little shorter, but I do buy options that go out, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, even into next year. I just bought what's called a leap, buying an option that goes out to next January. So that's a 6-month potential play. I don't let them go till January, but I like the exposure it gives me. That's good. MongoDB pullback. I'm on the. It depends. It depends what your strategy is, Rob. If you're doing options, you really. I mean, that's its own ball game. But for just the stock, as long as it's within buy range here, and it's above, it's about 9% above the buy range, so it's a little bit difficult to get involved. To get involved that high, but it is a little bit of a pullback. I would kind of wait till the end of the day here. If you want to start picking at it, I think that would be okay. Take a smaller entry position. Like I said, you're 9% down here to the breakout point. The reason they don't want you to buy up 5% from the breakout point is because IBD has an 8% stop loss rule. So if you're within 5% of the breakout point and you get a pullback to the breakout point, you're not in danger of closing out your position and taking a loss. If you buy up here and this thing, of course I can't see my percentages, but if you buy up here and it pulls back to the breakout point, you're down 12%. By your own rules, you have to close that trade. And so you don't just want to buy something to close it out immediately at a loss. You want to do the opposite of that. You want to buy at a proper buy point or within a proper buy range, and you want to be in a position so if it does move on you a little bit, you can hold on to that trade, or at least have a better chance of holding on to that trade. So that's why it's really hard to buy like this up 9% from the breakout point. So yeah, it does make sense. Like when you're explaining these things, they make perfect sense. It's nice to say this thing is on a run. It's a pullback. It can go, and it can. I'm not arguing. I mean, I own this stock. I own the option. So it's not like I think this thing is going to have a huge pullback. But, I mean, look at what it did yesterday and into today. I mean, it's pulled back, what was that, 9% from the high to where we are right now, just 24 hours later. Technically 7 hours later. So, it's interesting, but you have to buy at the proper area. Otherwise, it's just emotionally a wrecking ball. But if you do want to buy, if you do like the stock, if you do like what it's doing and the fundamentals are good and all that stuff, if you do want to enter, if this is like one of the ones you really missed out on, take a smaller position. Because again, if you take that 8% stop loss rule into account, this is we're 7%. So if you reduce your position by about a third, you're going to be within that 5% range. Between a third to a half, whatever the math works out on that one, you can reduce your position size. And then what that does is that keeps your dollar loss within range, because if you were going to lose $500 on an 8% drop and now your risk is 15%, still the max you want to risk is $500. And so you have to cut that size down appropriately. But when something's pulling back like this, I like to give it a little bit of room and see what it's doing. I was actually in a really good position up here. I was thinking to myself, I should have sold half my position. I was up 96% on my option, and I did not. So I'm not up 96% anymore. Let's put it that way. It's up like 50%. So I would have had some free stuff. Some free stuff yesterday. I would have had a free option for MongoDB yesterday. So sometimes it pays to listen to that sixth sense, and I'm still learning that tactic. So, but yeah, the Nasdaq's doing great, up 0.72% today. We're maintaining that bullishness of the day, which is great. And so we'll see what happens with the rest of these. But yeah, if some of these do pull back, you definitely could look to add to positions. Per IBD strategy, which is what I basically trade off of, you're looking at a 3 weeks tight pattern and a pullback to the 50-day moving average, which they all happened last week. So I'm not quite sure if we're gonna see a lot of pullbacks to the 50-day in our future, since the market just kind of broke out here. So. Like you look at Roku, that pull back to the 50-day, all the way back down here at 75. So that's not going to be a great pullback. But if it comes down, maybe around to the scalp level, depending on how the price action is at that time, could consider taking some positions. You've got a trend line right here. It could get down to, maybe it just bounces off of that trend line. A couple of different ways you can try to time an entry on some of these leading stocks that have been performing well. Paycom being sold off right there out of highs. There's a stalling day, a reversal day actually. MongoDB was a stalling day yesterday. See that closing all the way back down towards the open after all this price action, but volume was within trend, so you never know. Yes, Ryan. Yeah, I'm a practicing CanSlimmer, but everyone puts their own spin on CanSlim. Not too many people play it straight up, if you will. Everyone puts a little bit of a twist on it to kind of suit their strategies and what they do. We all try to be like William O'Neill, but it's really hard to be William O'Neill. Unfortunately, I wish it were wish it were easier. If we could all have the research brain that man has. Etsy trade still looking scrum diddly umptious here, guys. That's a word to get attention. Yandex looks pretty good here too. So here's a flat base for Yandex. I don't remember what the numbers were on Yandex. Oh yeah, dive in, Ryan. Dive in, buddy. It's really good. It's really good. Did you get the green book or the orange book? They have like all kinds of books, and they're different colors. So, all right, Yandex, 19% EPS change last quarter, not very good. 93 composite rating, relative strength rating of 89. So decent ratings. Composite ratings in the yellow. I think they like a composite rating over 94, 95. So it's kind of sitting in the yellow there. Last 3 quarters, average EPS growth rate 54%, which is pretty good. Yeah, the green that has, I think, 100 charts in the front in the first 100 pages or something like that. So, yeah, it's a good one. I got to buy one. My friend borrowed it and never gave it back. Now he can't find it. Figures. 23% sales change last quarter. 31% 3-year sales growth rate. And, yeah, I do subscribe to their to the IBD website as well, and that's where I get this stock checkup. So when I look up my stocks, I look in here, I go for the composite rating, look at their industry group, what they actually do right here. You can check out their industry group ranking, 57. There's IBD has 197 industry groups, and their website sucks. It really does. It's horrible. And they were 57, I think it was. You get all their EPS stuff. This is if you subscribe to their thing. They got a yearly plan for $250 a year, which drops it down to like $22 a month versus $30 a month. So it helps a little bit. 50-day moving average good. 12.5 billion market cap for Yandex. B minus accumulation distribution. 1.2 up down. 6% change in funds owning stock. You'll always see me rattle over those quickly because there's a lot of metrics to go over. Also, Ryan, if you're interested, check out your local. You can go to, and this goes for all you guys. I don't think I've ever mentioned this before. You can go to meetup.com. I'm sure you guys have heard of Meetup. You just type in IBD. And so the Petaluma Investors Business Daily Meetup Group, this is like, there's some exceptional traders in this. Petaluma's in California. I'm not in California. But, you know, if you can actually, you know, I'm a member, and so I get access to some things that I don't really look at too often, unfortunately. But that's a very good meetup group. But there are meetups in your area. I thought if you searched, within 50 miles of Scottsdale. So if I were to go within any distance of Scottsdale and click on IBD, there should be Infinity. Did you not? So there you go. Mammoth. Happy Gut. That's something else. How's that IBD? Oh, something bowel disease. We're going to get Crohn's disease. That's funny. Anyway, find a meetup group near you. Search meetup groups. There's guys that host some good ones. We had a pretty good one in Scottsdale that the guy that does it doesn't do it anymore. That was really good. That kind of sucks. But anyway, yeah, feel free to look up some meetups. If you want to learn more about the CanSlim methodology. South Africa probably won't work for me, but thanks for great advice. Yeah, I'm actually going to South Africa. Was invited to a family gathering in 2020 around Christmas time, so I will be going to South Africa in a year and a half. And MongoDB going down more. I was afraid it was going to. Let's see how that's going to do. Yeah, I do tout a lot of the IBD stuff. It's a great all-around strategy, and now you can loop in things to that in terms of bottom buying and noticing patterns forming ahead of time. Some guys get aggressive and try to buy the bottoms of like cup and handles and stuff like that, which isn't the end of the world. You can do stuff like that. Taking a look at Tesla, looks like it's reversing a little bit here today. Pretty red up here. Of course, the other day it was green at the open. That day was a little bit concerning, but it ended up doing pretty good. So, we'll see if we're going to find some resistance up here. We have a little bit of a resistance here at the 230 level. We had 260 here's pretty clear resistance. Looks like some at 230 as well. So we'll see how this ends up here. MongoDB taking on the chin a little bit. Roku down 2% now. Been a pretty steady gainer. KGKG Docu. Snap newer. Yeah, so bit of a stalling out here today. Usually when the market gaps of 1% like that, yeah, I mentioned early on, I don't think we're going to go much higher today in terms of the index, and it looks like that has proven to be the case, at least so far. I know we're only 45 minutes into the trading day, so that could change, but I don't see a real catalyst for that We kind of had most of our catalyst. The Mexico tariffs aren't going into effect. The Federal Reserve said that they're going to buoy, but we won't know what that's going to happen until September. So we got a few months of maybe floundering about. Hopefully some stocks will get some legs beneath them, and maybe we'll have some good China news in the meantime. That could give us the next lift potentially. But this is still pretty a news-driven market. I know I talk about that isn't very good, and it's not. But again, you can only go with the signals that the market gives you. So if it gives you a follow-through day, you see things breaking out, you just got to kind of roll with it and let the chips fall where they may. Because, like I said, next time you probably won't believe the market will bounce back, and so you don't take positions when you should, and you know you should, and then it goes to run on without you, and then you missed out on your opportunity. You really only get, if you're lucky, 2 or 3, maybe 4 really good opportunities to buy on an annual basis in the stock market, in terms of the market cycle of correction and going back into an uptrend. So, and again, it's hard to know which one's going to work out, so you have to trade each of them equally. So, all right, guys, well, I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back tomorrow. I think it's only Tuesday, right? Yep, it's only Tuesday, so I'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, Etsy doing pretty good right here. If it can sustain and get above this little declining trend line, like I said, potential double bottom with a breakout point up there at about the $70 level. So do with that that's probably one of the better looking charts right now, at least to me. I do like the pays movement, but it's already kind of extended a little bit. So some potential good things in the market, and other leading stocks pulling back. So some profit taking happening here as well. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Stay safe out there. I'll see you guys in the Crypto Power Hour in about an hour and a half. All right, guys. Bye-bye. Have a good day.